Now, the Jewish presence in Hong Kong dates back to the mid-1800s, but the community there really coalesced with the opening of the Ohel Leah Synagogue in 1902. Now, it never numbered more than a few thousand. The community has exerted a disproportionate influence in the Jewish world, thanks to such fabulously wealthy business dynasties as the Sassoon and Kadoorie families. Now, we sat down recently here at I-24 News with the synagogue's current rabbi, Dr. Asher Oser, to speak about the Hong Kong Jewish community and its historic Ohel Leah Synagogue. Rabbi Asher Oser, thank you for joining us on Jewish World Weekly. Let me start by asking you, the Ohel Leah Synagogue celebrating 120 years in Hong Kong. Of course, the Hong Kong Jewish community predates it, but really that synagogue has been the center of it since its founding. Talk to us about the role it plays in Hong Kong for both the Jewish community and even beyond that, maybe.
The oldest site of the Jewish community in Hong Kong is actually the cemetery. So we've had a presence in Hong Kong since the 1850s when Jews began to arrive. But in 1901, we laid the foundation stone, the community laid the foundation stone of the Ohel Leah Synagogue, which has really been the center of Jewish life, Jewish religious life, and out of the Ohel Leah Synagogue grew as well the Jewish Community Center, the JCC, which used to be known as the Jewish Recreation Club, which is situated next to the synagogue.
Who are the Jews of Hong Kong today?
Well, some of the great families of the past continue to be in Hong Kong and play an active role in Hong Kong. There are a number of families who have been in Hong Kong and the Greater China area for generations. But there is a transient element to Hong Kong. At the same time, there are people who come, they arrive for 2 years, 3 years to see what life will be like and end up loving it, falling in love with Hong Kong, with the community, growing deeper in their Jewish identity. They find that they have a real sense of community.
What role does the synagogue play in lending a sense of cohesiveness to the community? How do you see your role as the rabbi of the Ohel Leah Synagogue?
We are a small community. Our infrastructure is an infrastructure that a community much larger than our community could be proud of. The synagogue itself is a UNESCO heritage site that draws a lot of people, school children from other schools, people in Hong Kong. My role really is to present Judaism to the people in Hong Kong, outside the Jewish community, and also to make sure that the people who do come to Hong Kong have a way of connecting to their heritage.
Now, Hong Kong, of course, has undergone some dramatic political changes over the past 25 years since the handover from British rule to Chinese rule. It certainly impacted on the city of Hong Kong itself. What about on the Jewish community? Has there been any impact?
I have not felt an impact. I don't think we have felt any impact on the political front. We have freedom of worship. We are able to hold services. We're able to have kosher food. The government, we have close relations with the government. And I'm optimistic.
Well, let me ask you about that. How are the relations, the ties with the government?
Excellent. Excellent. We have not faced any religious oppression whatsoever. And in fact, you know, I feel safe in Hong Kong. I feel safe to practice my Judaism publicly in Hong Kong, which is not something that a lot of Jews around the world can say today. We've had people who have visited us from New York who have said to me, just recently, you know, there were some fairs and so on, and they've said to me, I feel safer walking around Hong Kong as a Jew than I do in New York City. So the question isn't really for us, it's for those communities elsewhere who are feeling real oppression and real danger. We are not experiencing that in Hong Kong.
All right. There were other Jewish communities in Hong Kong. Still, there are Jews who are maybe transient in other cities. You have an interesting cases like the Kaifang Jews, whose Jewishness has been complicated, let's say. Does your community relate to those other elements, potential Jewish elements elsewhere in China, or not really?
We see ourselves as being part of a global Jewish community. We have ties with other Jewish communities around the world, but our synagogue is really focused on the Jews living in Hong Kong. That's what our primary role is, and that's where our focus remains.
Right. Now, you came from 2010. You came from Australia, I believe.
I came from the U.S.
From the U.S.,
I was
but
born in
originally from
Australia.
Australia to Hong Kong. How do you see the future, both of the synagogue, the community, and maybe your own role in it, looking forward?
I think we have a very bright future. I think, as I said, our infrastructure is excellent. The conditions of life in Hong Kong is excellent. If I was a young family, I was a young family, we were a young family, we moved to Hong Kong with 2 of our children. We had 2 more children in Hong Kong. If I was a young family and I was offered the possibility of moving to Hong Kong, I would grab it. It's a great place to live. It's a fantastic place to raise a Jewish family. Our future is very bright.
All right, Rabbi Asher Oser of the Rabbi of the Ohel Leah Synagogue, the historic Ohel Leah Synagogue in Hong Kong. Thank you for joining us on Jewish World Weekly.
Thank you. Thank you.